Hi Queen folks, Ferdy here of course, and today we are going to celebrate the 45th anniversary of the A Day That Erases album by Queen. So, of course, as always I want to talk about the album, about the songs, about the history of the songs and the album. And now it's the last album we're going to talk about in 2021. So next year there will be the Jubilee of the Hot Space album, the 40th anniversary, and so this year we've celebrated Innuendo in February, Roger Taylor's solo album Fun in Space with 40th anniversary, and as well the very first birthday of the new album by Roger called Outsider. But I haven't done a video about that. Well, and then what else would we do? The Miracle, of course, in May 1989. So May 2021 isn't the Jubilee, but I actually want to talk about on every album. So as well as on the Miracle album, which we did in May. I think the last one, yes, was the last one. That was the Kind of Magic album in June 1986, 2021, 35th anniversary, so 10 years after A Day at the Races. So, and now, of course, A Day at the Races itself. Released 10th of December 1976 in the UK, reached, of course, the number one there, and it is often referred or called a twin brother to the predecessor, Night at the Opera. Well, actually, we've got the Night at the Opera album with the white background and the A Day at the Races with the black background, and the logo, actually the Queen crest, is nearly the same, although the phoenix is looking on the right side on the Night at the Opera album on the left side, and the Races album it's on the right side, and on the Day at the Races album the phoenix actually looks a bit forward. So whereas on the Night at the Opera album the phoenix holds his head back. It's a typical Queen crest, which was created by Freddie, of course, with the two lions, which represents John and Roger, with the Cancer up on the Q, which symbolized the zodiac sign for Brian, and the two nymphs, virgins, actually the word Rogo, signed by for Freddie, for Freddie, which is also on the Greatest Hits 2 album. So it's a typical, actually, the symbol of the band. Not only the Queen writing the Queen letters in different styles, but also in different formations, the Queen crest variations. Yeah. So what can we find on the album? What is actually different to A Night at the Opera? Well, at A Night at the Opera we had the back. You remember Bohemian Rhapsody. You remember the story by Queen, which they put out in 2005 DVD in Night at the Opera Jubilee. So we've got the conflict with the manager. Then there will be John Reid as a new man, and as the new leader in things of justice and contracts, etc., manage things. So it was a bit, and then actually put out in freedom and put out in creativity. But it is referred and doesn't relax the whole situation. So and actually with the Races, which was done well in mid 1976, because the album in Deborah was released in mid November, 21st of November, I suppose, in 1975. So then there would be the Christmas live at the Odeon and the Night at the Opera tour. So in summer till autumn there would be the recordings for the A Day at the Races album. Of course, you can find typical Queen sound of the 70s with the bright, large vocalists and harmonies, overdubs, guitar parts. But also there's the same pattern of writing. So there's one track by Roger, one track by Brian, one track by John, like I did from the Shahadatek album, as opposed to Roger, who participated from the Queen album onwards. Then there is actually a lot of songs by Brian and a lot of songs by Freddie. So going it through, it starts off with Tie Your Mother Down with a guitar intro, which is then faded out on the very last track on the album. So actually the melody came from an idea Brian had on the Tenerife Islands when he was doing some studies for his astronomy thing, and then he actually composed it on a country guitar, a normal acoustic guitar, and it actually developed into a very great rock and roll number till the Magic Tour. So it was actually part of every tour. The video was done live with a lot of steam, a lot of lightnings, typical for Queen, very loud. So that's the first track, and it stands for heavy rock and roll, typical Queen, just making music in the rock and roll way. You wanna rock, you wanna roll, alright, let's do that. And Freddie liked it, of course. But then there's a second track with the drama, with a tragic, You'll Take My Breath Away, where actually Freddie is doing his own stuff with his own harmony and his wonderful voice. Ooh, ooh, take all away. Ooh, and then there's ooh, and it's over and over and again with Roger in the background, and so it makes this big harmony. I think Brian is there as well. Just Freddie and the piano. It's his own baby, because it was at the time. It was the time of his outing, coming out, and then it was a bit difficult for him. And I think he was in an emotional chaos. So this is a very nice number. There is a story that he's written the song for another man who left him. I don't know the name. Maybe you write it. Then write it in the comments. There's a third track which I really love. I really love it. It's Long Away by Brian May. And a very nice way composed, and it's a bit different to the folk song 39 from the Night at the Opera album. So Long Away is much more in the flow, and, although 39 as well, but 39 is much more complex, whereas Long Away is more simple. Well, it's also a great song. I really love it, but I think it's because of the fact that Brian is just working with his Red Special, whereas on 39 he's mainly doing this folk song, where he also hits brilliant notes on his Red Special, but I think Long Away is a bit more typical Queen, whereas 39 is more the experience, which I really love, and it's great, and it's typical for Queen. But Long Away is more for racing in the streets and listening to music and to say, oh, that's a good song. Actually, for me, it's a radio song, but it isn't played much. Actually, never heard it on the radio station here in Germany. Don't know how it's in other countries. Maybe you can tell me. But for me, it's a typical radio song. Well, then there is a good old-fashioned double boy, Freddie. At his heydays, there are all elements in it. Yeah, it's got the typical Brian May sound. On another Red Special, it isn't a typical Red Special. Mike Stone, who produced the album, instead of Roy Thomas Baker, was singing this, "Hey boy, where'd you get from? Hey boy, where did you go?" And in the video, it's Roger who sings. And then you can see that the video is done on Top of the Pops, the playback show, but it's okay. There are these elements, dining at the Ritz, that 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's Roger saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah, so there is this irregularity, which was typical for the very first Queen albums when listening exactly to the drums. So Roger is tinkering a bit. Then there is another track called "Somebody to Love." Of course, I haven't to say. Well, there aren't much words to say. Yeah, it's actually a big anthem by Queen in a gospel way. Somebody with huge harmonies, as opposed to the rock version. I like this version much better, but the rock version is. They try to. It's interesting. They want to transform a gospel track into a rock track. Somebody, anybody, find me. So it's much. It's very, very heavy. But the original track, shot in London, my birthday, 18th of September, in Hyde Park, the concert which they did for free in 1976. Just before the album came out. And in the studio, you know, the typical, they're all standing around the microphone and singing, "Somebody." I love it, it's wonderful 6/8 time. Aretha Franklin time, you know. And Freddie said that he liked the version of "Somebody to Love," or the song "Somebody to Love," much more than he liked Bohemian Rhapsody. So you can compare it. For me, it's "Somebody to Love." It's number one, although Bohemian Rhapsody is wonderful, but and there is this big topic as well, love, and who can it be? Is it the right partner? Feel I free in my situation, comfortable? Is it the right way to love? You know, the big topic Freddie always put in the lyrics. Then there's this nice ballet by John, who just married before. It's just music is playing in darkness. It's who needs not who it needs you, but forgot it. Wait a minute. Next song. Keep it in mind. It's White Man. It's about the political thing, you know, segregations, and well, it's very heavy. I don't like that song that much, but it's political. It's quite important. It's quite right. This topic, this to talk about it, and actually it was written by Brian. Then there's this love song, "To Victoria, Let Us Cling Together," wonderful ballad for the Japanese fans. It's half sung in Japanese, although, and you know, Queen always liked Japan, and interestingly they didn't tour Japan in 1986 when doing the Magic Tour thing. but I think it was in 1985 where they met the last time with the Japanese fans. Well, You and I, it's called from John Deacon, yeah. Just you and I'm. Do, 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 do. It's a very soft song. Not that interesting like You're My Best Friend, but it has this sound like Misfire a bit. Or In Only 7 Days. Well, it's a nice number, yeah. I think you're right through, but there's this lovely track. Has to be the last. I think so. Drowse, of course, by Roger. About sitting in the armchair, just being relaxed and, well, in a drowsy mood. Interestingly, he names a lot of important historical persons like Try William the Conqueror. I don't know why. Don't know where the relation between the Battle of Hastings in 1066 and Roger's. Well, maybe there is this jubilee. We've got the 910th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings, and so now we are mentioning, in a drowsy mood, we are mentioning William the Conqueror. Well, actually, that's quite fine. So our first really, the Duke of Norman is coming to England, want to be William the First, William the Conqueror, and founds a new dynasty in England. Well, actually not very drowsy, because when thinking a lot of battles in the English history, to the Anjou Plantagenet, to the York and Lancaster, to the Tudors, you know, inside the country with France, then it's much more out of Britain. But it's interesting, so I don't know why he mentioned William the Conqueror. By the way, if you listen carefully, you can hear Who Else Do I Like? It's Brian May. Yes, it's a great song, and it's of course in the 6/8 time. It's a sad goodbye. Actually, sing it in a lot of harmonies over and over again. So you've got this sad goodbye, yesterday moments. I remember them. It's good. And then like I'm in love with my car, but not that fast. Although it's the same rhythm pattern, you know. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Nearly 140 subscribers. Woohoo! But remember, it's actually a small channel. I don't want to make it that professional. You won't find any vlogs or something else on my channel. Not that good at it. Well, keep on rocking. Tell me your opinion about I Hate the Races. Would be interesting to read. It isn't my favorite album, no, but it fits in the early Queen days, and I just like some of the songs, not every song, and I don't like listening to the album as a whole. So I prefer A Night at the Opera, although there are songs on A Day at the Races which I prefer more, but when listening in its entirety, A Night at the Opera for me is #1. Well, the last album talk, and then the next album talk will be about Hot Space, I think. Maybe other albums in between. I would say thank you, enjoy, and happy Christmas time and time of Advent, and stay healthy. Alright, bye.